Hello there, Ray here, and I'm joined by one of the fellow Protect members, Excellior.
Hello.
And behind us we have one insane farm to show you guys. This is the Guardian Gusher, and it produces a ton of Guardians. The Guardian Gusher here produces 1.37 million items per hour. This is roughly over 300,000 COD per hour, as well as crystals, and over 750,000 shards per hour. And you also get 3,000 ink sacs from the squid that also come with it. This farm is so insanely fast that it would produce enough items that you would need to have over 152 hoppers at all times to keep up with the input, putting them into chests. That is double the amount of hoppers and chests that you see right here.
If you've seen our previous dropping design, you would notice that right here in this design, where you're pretty much using the same pattern slash design, and all we did to modify it is one, add more floors to it, and two, add portals to it. And thanks to that, we've been able to reach the rates of 1.37 million items per hour, since the gardens pretty much have no time to idle around, and they instantly get sent to the nether.
This farm uses the same concept as our Advanced Blaze farm, in where we have the mobs spawn directly beside portal blocks and then have them pushed inwards. Nessie also used this concept to make a really fast squid farm by pushing them into portals, and Numbomb used this concept also to make a fast guarding farm for 1.12 to push them into portals as well.
So with this design, we pretty much use the most of the bounding blocks that the Guardian Temple would use, which would be from Y39 all the way to Y62. But in this design, we only go all the way to Y59.
So in this farm there is 23,000 spawning spaces for the Guardians to spawn, which allows it to be quite fast. We also tried adding another portal on top and gaining about 2 more layers worth of spawning spaces. By making the farm taller, we think it actually decreased the rates because we went a little bit higher Y level wise, and this made it slow down. So after the Guardians spawn in this area, then immediately get pushed into the nether portal to be taken over to the nether dimension. From here, they'll come out of this nether portal. The way that nether portals work is that once a mob has came through to the nether portal, the game will remember where he came from, and that way, next time a mob comes through, it doesn't have to search this entire area trying to figure out where to put that mob when he comes through the nether portal. It'll remember this information for 15 seconds. So long as the farm it keeps having mobs coming through, we can reduce the amount of lag by reducing the area that has to search. And this is why at first the farm is pretty laggy when you turn on, but then after a little bit, then it will get better.
So the way this item collection works is that after the Guardians fall to their death, the items get pushed by the pistons on the side, and after they reach the middle section, they will get pushed by another piston, which will put them against the wall, and then a sticky piston with this slime block will push them to against the cake. And after they get aligned with the cake, another sticky piston with the slime block. So after the items flow down the blue ice path, there's this little station on the side which will push them on another direction, so they will have more momentum, so they can get sent to even more storage. And then we just have another one on the other side, and then on the other side, at the end of it, we have a cactus. So all the extra items will get deleted, and we wouldn't have just a bunch of extra items.
The AFK point for this farm is up here where the player would just stay, and this will allow mobs to spawn down below. If you want to, you can raise this AFK point up higher, in which case there is less chance for the mobs to spawn out in nearby caves. This will allow you to make a minimal amount of area to clear out to have the farm be placed in. So just make sure that each of the corners where the guardians spawn are still within range of the player so that they can spawn in there. This also allows you to be able to have less area to clear out or to light up for drowns. In 1.13 there are drowns and they do spawn in the water when it's dark, so such as night, in which case you would have to put light in the water to prevent them from spawning. So by moving the player up, it just gives you less room to have to light up or to clear. If you want to, you can go ahead and put in sea pickles. If you get them up to 4 of them, then it'll make a light level of 15, which is sufficient enough to keep the drowns from spawning. And I did make a sea pickle farm, so you can easily get those on large supply. So because of the large amount of portal blocks, pigmen will spawn inside of here since we're over in the overworld, and they could affect the mob cap since they also count towards the hostile mob cap. But as long as the pigmen plus the guardians don't go over the mob cap of 70, then on average it's going to do pretty good. So if you look over on the right hand side, Excel made a scoreboard that shows the Guardians plus the Pigmen. You can see majority of the time it stays under 70, which allows more Guardians to spawn in. And for the most part, there stays around about like 10 to 15 Pigmen at any given time, which doesn't really affect the farm. And the Pigmen inside of the portals will randomly despawn since the player is far enough away that they can despawn. So they don't just keep clogging up the system. We also tried making the nether portal shorter, which decreased the rates, as well as trying to remove the pigmen, which made no difference to the rates. We also noticed that depending on where this was built, some of the rates would change. So just like our previous designs, squid as well as dolphins will spawn in the same areas where the guardians do. They don't count towards the same cap, and that way they don't really affect it, but they also don't get pushed out immediately. They kind of have to pathfind and choose to kind of move this direction, in which case they'll go through the portals. So you might see some of them sitting in there, but they don't affect the farm. So the portal in which the guardians come out, there is also the dolphins and squid that come through here. The dolphins are pretty good at getting out of the portal, but the squids kind of sit in there and they don't really go through very easily. So what can happen is that they can die in there, in which case the ink sacs would teleport back over to the overworld, and in which case we have set up a portal that is directly linked up with this one. So the farm is here, but the portal that is linked up is over here, and this portal allows it for the ink sacs to come back through. And what we have here is some hoppers on either side, as well as hopper carts pushed in. And you can do this by having curved rails and just pushing them on curved rails, in which case they will go directly inside of immovable blocks such as this. And these hopper carts will just pick up any ink sacs that come through, and then they're just put into this chest here. You can see you can also see that sometimes dolphins die and they get put in here.
So, as a nice little optional feature for those people that want to have a nice option for food, I add a little lava blade so the guardians drop cooked cod instead of just regular raw cod. And then on the bottom of here, since we just happened to build this farm inside of a slime chunk, we added some cobblestone walls on the bottom so the slimes and guardians wouldn't get stuck when coming down.
We found out that if we spread the guardians out when they come through the portal, we can minimize some of the TPS problems. We can get up to about 10 TPS. So in a future design, we may try to increase the TPS by doing this.
One of the changes that we've noticed that from in 1.12 and below, if you had a chunk loading grid of hoppers before the game would unload this dimension, the hoppers would come here and reload it. But in 1.13, we noticed that reloading wouldn't happen. So the items and entities would just get stuck. So you would need a player to come load that area.
And Earth Computer checked into the 1.13 code to see what was going on.
Okay, so while working on this farm, when it came to time to do the storage system, we had the original idea of sending the items back to the overworld and then sorting them there. But one of the few problems that we had was that one was too much lag, extra lag, I should say. And then the second problem was that some of the items that were getting sent through the portal, they were not getting sent to the overworld, meaning the portal was not sending them. And so to fix that, we got the nice idea from our friend Sheen to just use a second portal right behind it, and that actually fixed it.
So besides the portal bug that is unique to 1.13, there's another unique bug, and this is items that are setting above lava, as this one is here, but hanging over them will burn up if there's lava here. So this one, you can see this item here is just sitting there. As soon as there's a lava source, it will burn up the item, and that is unique to 1.13 and is not prevalent in 1.12. During the build of this farm, as well as the previous designs, we had help from Sheen, KK, Oreo, and TT. To build this farm is fairly simple, as there's just nether portals as well as waterlogged blocks over in the overworld. There's little complications here in the nether, but if you want to see exactly how to build this up in your own world, we will provide the world download down in the description. One insanely fast guardian farm for 1.13. And we also have some plans to do some tweaking on this design to make it work for looting as well. So we'd like to thank you guys for watching, and if you found this interesting, show us with a like and share this with others. If you'd like to see more designs like this, as well as future designs for 1.14 and beyond, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you have any questions about this design, ask us down in the comments. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.